Joke, I'm out here stomping out Xbox, and there's a report. Multiple Fallout games in production. That's twisted,
what?
Dude. Okay, so yeah, obviously that's the good news. Lots of Fallout is on the way. I'll get into why that's the case, but yeah, pumped to know more of my favorite gaming franchise is inbound. Hopefully it's good. The twist, it's complicated, and I'm not even saying that to put a little negative spin on it. It just is. Emotionally, given recent events with Xbox, it's obviously really complicated to feel excited about anything right now involving the brand. But also, it's a bit complicated knowing the potential trade-off. There have been rumors floating around that some of the budget that's being cut from all these various games over at Xbox were used to shift it over to Fallout. And if that's the case, as much as I adore Fallout, I don't think companies like ZeniMax Online Studios need to trade in their rights to make a new IP for a new Fallout game, especially when that's like indie publisher energy, and that's certainly not what Xbox is. So it feels weird and wrong to be like up out of my seat, yeah, more Fallout, and frankly, tone deaf. But I still want to talk about it because this is my favorite gaming franchise. I have talked about Fallout since day one on this channel. It's extremely important to me, and I'll always talk about my beloved Bethesda Game Studios. Thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the report. Starts off at Insider Gaming. Multiple Fallout projects are in development, it is claimed. In the recent episode of the Friends Per Second podcast, VGC's Jordan Midler claimed several Fallout games are being pieced together. Quote, Fallout is the big one. I cannot believe that they didn't immediately start work on a Fallout 5, you and I both. There are multiple Fallout projects in development, including, as far as I'm aware, the one you're all wanting, but it's not far enough along to say anything that's like, you're going to be playing this game anytime soon, end quote. Here's a funny butterfly effect moment, right? So SkillUp reaches out to me before the Fallout news breaks, and he's like, hey, we'd love to have you on the show. Your expertise would be really appreciated here, which was really awesome of him. I had COVID, so I could not make the show because I also had Defining Duke, and I would have been back-to-back podcasting while on COVID, so I was like, yeah, I don't think that's going to work. So there's this weird butterfly effect moment where if I showed up, I would not have learned this much about my favorite gaming franchise, and I find that deeply hilarious. At the same time, there is something Jordan says before I get into the full report and some thoughts on it that stands out to me. It is why we had to wait this long. There is that big question mark floating over all of this. And I'm not trying to turn this whole video into Xbox bad. I'll talk about Fallout in a moment here, but it is the big question. Like, they bought Bethesda in 2021. As far as I'm concerned, I was deeply convinced, oh, they're going to greenlight Fallout like that. That is an instantaneous thing you have to do. Of course, Starfield is really important, but you got to outsource that puppy. Like, that is your IP. You got to go. You just spent $7.5 billion on Bethesda. Fallout's the most lucrative IP you got in that batch right next to Elder Scrolls. You got to make use of it. The fact that it took this long, and it's not even like we're getting something this year or next year, like it's a while before we see anything new that's not a Fallout TV show. And that is a bit disheartening because it should never have played out like this. Same, by the way, Elder Scrolls fans, you know I keep you in mind when I'm talking about my Fallout. Same with Elder Scrolls. Why there's nothing until ES6, but fortunately we did get Oblivion remastered. But before that, with Bethesda and how they were handling things, like here's Elder Scrolls Legends. Come on, you know it's not what we wanted. So hopefully a sign of things changing with Oblivion remastered. But what are these multiple Fallout projects in development? Of course, you see here the mentioning of the one you're all wanting, and there's been jokes about Fallout Shelter 2, but of course this is New Vegas 2 with Obsidian, and we'll talk about that extensively. I have my list of theories and breakdowns on why it's plausible. Don't you worry. Before we get there, though, there's a little bit more from Insider Gaming. They say, in some ways, it's a reiteration of what we've been led to believe and what I've outlined above. It's a relatively safe bet to say that multiple Fallout projects are, at the very least, planned. I heard from Bethesda Game Studios' John Rush and Bill Lacoste at Summer Games Fest that there are stacks of ideas for Fallout games, but they wouldn't share anything with me. So at Summer Games Fest, they were showing off 76. Gotta wonder what's going on there. I remember when I interviewed Todd, he did mention that like if they had a small Fallout game idea, they'd try to roll it in the 76, which I was like, what? No, bad, Todd, bad idea. Okay, but yeah, no doubt we're gonna get more 76 updates. You can check that off the list. I hope as part of this, man, like seeing what they're doing with like Neverwinter Nights and all these old CRPGs, PC games coming to consoles, coming to new audiences. I know Todd shut it down when I asked him about it. I get it, but if there is a way, and I know, unfortunately, as Tim Kaine revealed, like the original code is gone. I think one person does still have it, but if we could find a way to bring back Fallout 1 and 2 and just have the modern audience experience it. It doesn't even have to be perfect, but these games, I'm the first to say I started with Fallout 3. I was late to the parade. Didn't even know Fallout 1 and 2 were connected to the series because they looked so far apart from what Fallout 3 was when I played it in like middle school. I was like, what? This isn't Fallout. This is some other franchise. Like, I remember being deeply convinced of that until I played them myself eventually, and I was like, these are excellent video games. So I hope part of the plan is that, as I've mentioned many times before, one way we can do the little bit of stop gaps for Fallout content as we wait for new video games made from the ground up are these remasters and these re-releases. And no doubt that's part of the plan, as we'll talk about. But first, I want to talk about Fallout 5. That's the other monkey wrench in this whole thing. Now, if we had it Bethesda Game Studios way, I love them dearly, but if we had it Bethesda Game Studios way, we wouldn't be getting Fallout 5 until like Todd Howard's 80 years old. Bethesda has an idea for Fallout 5, according to IGN, but don't expect it for many years. When asked about New Vegas 2 being handled by another company, Todd said the following, quote, look, Fallout's really a part of our DNA here. We've worked with other people from time to time. I can't say what's going to happen, but, we have a one-pager on Fallout 5, what we want to do. And they said this is coming after Elder Scrolls 6. So we know the timeline for Bethesda Game Studios was Starfield, then Elder Scrolls 6, then Fallout 5. So Bethesda has planted their flag saying, this is our game, and that's what we're doing next. But again, with leadership changes and now like wringing that puppy dry, trying to get money anywhere you can, mega hits only, Fallout 5 should probably be moved up the timeline, and understandably so. Look, with the way modern game development is going, if we get like Elder Scrolls 6 by like 2027, and then we move into Fallout 5 after that, we're not getting Fallout 5 until 2032. And at that point, between mainline entries of the Fallout franchise, if you're looking at Fallout 4, sorry, 76, gotta ignore you for a second, but you're looking at Fallout 4, and then the next numbered entry, Fallout 5, you're talking close to 20 years. Unacceptable every day of the week. So, yeah, Fallout 5 or something has to get moved up.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't even want to speak on it, but 20 years isn't insane. It's already 2025, so it's already 10 years from what it is. If I did start getting back into Bethesda gameplay this year, I wouldn't have realized the gap that was going on. I was so much just, when I hopped into Fallout 4 for the first time, it was 2017, 2018, around that time. I never really got deep into it, but I remember I was playing at my friend's house, and then I hopped into the PC. I got my first laptop, and I started playing Fallout 4 on my own time. So I wasn't too like, damn, there's no new Fallout. I didn't really care. I was playing Fallout New Vegas a lot before that as well. Never played Fallout 3 a day in my life until literally this year. I played Fallout 3, and I think it was 2023 I started playing Fallout 3 as well. But to think about, it's going to take them 20 years to release something like this. It's very like, to take 20 years to release a game is just, come on. Even, GTA 6, when I think about GTA 6, that's like, what is it? They said they're going to release in 2026. And when we look back at it, the first coming of it was, GTA 5 was 2020. I'd say it's 2012, I think. So it's going to be a 14-year release. That's a big deal. That's still a big deal as fuck. They only released Red Dead Redemption 2 in between that time. So for them to release Fallout 6 or Fallout 5 or whatever the fuck, 20 years after the first release of Fallout 4 is just, come on, get the fuck out of here, bro. It's damn near evil. But I personally don't think it matters how they take care of it. I don't think anybody's watching this period of the video. I'm not gonna lie, if you're watching this period of the video. But if they release, let's say, Fallout New Vegas remastered, Fallout 3 remastered, I think even when they do that, Fallout 3 remastered should be scheduled to be released by the beginning of, I think it should be 2026. They release Fallout 3 remastered, in my opinion. That's when they should do it. If they do a Fallout New Vegas remastered, it should be probably 2028, 2029. If they can fill those little holes right there, where they're like each year's a remastered of even Morrowind, even Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is garbage comparably to Fallout New Vegas and 3 when it comes down to RPG and levels to it. But if they were able to do that, I would actually take a step back and be like, okay, this looks like it could be something special. But regardless of that, I just don't, I personally don't feel like it's a smart idea. I don't know. For them to wait until 2030, it just doesn't even sound right. I mean, I remember when Starfield dropped in 2023, and I was like, okay, that's like, I wasn't even deep into Bethesda because I took like a 4-year hiatus of just living my life, going to college, doing what I gotta do. You know, at the end of my high school years, just enjoying my life. And, you know, seeing them basically scalp their projects and just go on 2 years past when they said it was going to go. Starfield would have been 2021. You know, Fallout 3 Remaster would have been last year, wouldn't have been this year. Same with Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remaster would have been last year, not this year. So they should have been honestly on Elder Scrolls 6. That is the scary part about this is like, what are we going to get first? I think Fallout 3 Remastered should be first before they do Elder Scrolls 6. I personally think that if they really wanted to manhandle this shit, they should do Elder Scrolls 6 after Morrowind Remastered and Fallout 3 Remastered. Then after Elder Scrolls 6, they do a Fallout New Vegas Remastered. Then when they drop Fallout 5 should be in the western area. It should not be in the east. Like, I don't get what Bethesda's, like, fetish is with the east, bro. Like, fuck the east. Stop going to the east. Go to the west. Go to San Francisco. Go somewhere else. It's not worth it. I'm not gonna lie. It's just not worth it. I can't wait for that. If they do something in the west, I will be happy regardless. I'm not gonna be mad.
If Fallout 5 is going to be that deep, something has to happen, and soon. So, of course, what that is one of the most leaked projects involving the Fallout IP, and that is the Fallout 3 Remaster. So when the documents from Bethesda leaked during the FTC case, we did learn the plan for fiscal year 24 was the Fallout 3 Remaster. And since then, insiders like Nate the Hate have confirmed this is the next project over at Virtuos, but it would also be a long while before we ever saw it. And given what we saw with the Oblivion Remaster, you know, launch bugs and stability issues aside, I'm very excited to see what that Fallout 3 Remaster is going to be like. Like, stupidly excited just from a gameplay perspective, what little changes they're going to make. It's one of my favorite games of all time, so I'll be all over that thing, man. But looking at this timeline here, as I've covered multiple times before, everything on this list got bumped back 2 years. Everything from Starfield to Indiana Jones, everything, even the Starfield DLC, got bumped back 2 years. In 2024, we're supposed to get Fallout 3 Remaster, so next year seems too soon based on what we're hearing from insiders, but also, again, you look at how the Oblivion Remaster was supposed to come out in 22, but that got bumped to the top of 25, so I don't think it's unreasonable to say Fallout 3 Remaster like 2027, 2028 even, maybe. So again, really far down the road. That's the problem here, in my opinion, is I'm very happy to be getting a lot of Fallout, and there's going to be that stretch of time. We're going to get there. I'm going to be like in my 40s, and I'm going to be partying like it was 2008 to 2010. Like, what a stretch. You went from Fallout 3 to Fallout 3's DLC, New Vegas, its DLC. It was a thing of beauty. So if we can recapture that magic, that's one way to win me back. But yeah, again, really deep down the road, even something as simple as a remaster. So that's why I'm saying, like, hey, even a port of the Fallout 1 and 2 games would be really awesome. Tactics, Brotherhood of Steel, like, let's just go crazy with it, man. Let's do a Fallout Classic collection. Let's get limited run involved. Like, this is money. All right, so now we got to get into the fun one. This is the one that I imagine Jordan and co are talking about here. Fallout New Vegas 2 over at Obsidian Entertainment. So there's a whole track record of comments and things that we got to go through here to really solidify that I think this is the landing spot for Obsidian Entertainment. I mean, first and foremost, you just have to look at the year Obsidian's having right now. The Avowed team has their hands off that project. They're doing some post-launch support for it. Doesn't look like anything spectacular. No announced expansions or like major DLC, at least as of yet. I'd assume it's not doing any of that, but I could be completely incorrect on that. Still, even then, that's not going to be the full development team over there. They do have Grounded 2 entering early access. That's its own team. But then after you have the Outer Worlds 2, I mean, most of Obsidian is free. It's a pretty good time to be starting a new project where the stars have kind of aligned, as I've illustrated numerous times in videos and podcasts, how there is that opening to sort of hand them a project and be like, hey, all the things you were doing are done. And especially in the case of The Outer Worlds 2, you just look at any of the pre-launch marketing and what they're talking about with role-playing systems, the amount of references they've made to New Vegas is insane to me. At the same time, a lot of the systems they're building for The Outer Worlds 2 would be literally perfect for a modern Fallout game, because that is what inspired The Outer Worlds. So you get where I'm going with this? Like, they have a lot of the tools there where they could make a Fallout game, barring visual assets, they could make a Fallout game on a systems level maybe a little bit quicker than most, since a lot of their tools are well equipped to already provide that first person and third person hybrid open RPG experience. Let's keep going a little bit deeper though. VGC reports Fallout New Vegas 2 is reportedly in very early talks at Microsoft. This is 2022. Speaking on his premium Giant Bomb show Grub Snacks, VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb claimed that the original developer Obsidian could create a sequel to the classic RPG now that it's under the same roof as license holder Bethesda. Quote, "This is very early, but people have begun to have talks and say these words in sentences, and those words are Obsidian and New Vegas 2, Grubb said. We're talking years and years away, and certainly we're starting to be in that realm, by the way. There's at least an interest and conversations happening about making something like that actually a reality." Grubb added, "A lot of people at Microsoft think that this could work, and there's a lot of interest to make it happen." One such example is a single year later in 2023, Obsidian boss Fergus Urquhart would love to make another Fallout game. Here's what he had to say. First, he addressed the rumor, "We're not working on Fallout and we haven't even talked about what it would be," he claimed. Urquhart, who was interviewed in December, suggested Obsidian might be ready to start discussing new projects in late 2023. He says, "Our plate is pretty full with Avowed, Grounded, and Outer Worlds 2. That was still the case, by the way. "I don't know when we're going to start talking about new games, maybe towards the end of next year," he said. "We just have to see what's going on. That's the best way to say it. There's nothing in the plans, nothing on the piece of paper that says that. But I'll stick to what I said. I would love to make another Fallout before I retire. I don't know when that is. I don't have a date of my retirement. It's funny. You can say I'm already 52 or only 52. It's one of those two, depending on the day. My hope is it'll happen, but we'll have to wait and see." And the other thing I just want to throw out there is The Outer Worlds 2 added a radio system. I mean, they're good to go, dude. Let them make a Fallout game, for God's sakes. Especially when Obsidian has become such an extremely dependable developer underneath the Xbox brand, like arguably next to Playground Games, the most dependable, and certainly out of anyone that Xbox has purchased, the highest in output. I would hand them anything I possibly could that was of value, like the Fallout license, and be like, yeah, you are the chosen one. We need you to make something on this. But the timeline adds up here. He's saying in 2023 that by the end of next year, as in 2024, that they'd be ready to discuss new projects. And that's kind of where this all starts to add up. We hear the rumors about the layoffs. We know about Microsoft moving funds to obviously invest more in AI, but no doubt with some cuts at Xbox, some of that budget's going to be moved to select projects. So you trade something like, hypothetically, ZeniMax Online Studios' next new IP for a Fallout game. Again, very much indie publisher energy here. The trade-off shouldn't exist as far as I'm concerned. So that's why, again, it makes it very awkward to me to be like, fuck yeah. Still, what Fergus says checks out. And then let's go to the hypothetical director, right? Josh Sawyer directed Fallout New Vegas, and he is open to working on the Fallout franchise. This was in 2022, around the time Pentiment was coming out. It says the director of Fallout New Vegas would be open to working on the series again. He says, "I love Fallout. I love the setting. I could see myself working on it again, but, you know, we'll see where the future takes me." And the question really is what Sawyer has been working on of his own that isn't Pentiment. You know, he talked in the interview that I did with him alongside Lord Cognito over on Defining Duke, was that he kind of twisted Microsoft's arm, like, if you want to keep me, you're going to have to let me do this project, otherwise I'm going to walk. And you don't let a mind like Josh Sawyer walk. That's where you're good choice bending the knee there, Xbox, because here's how it plays out in the future, right? You get Josh Sawyer, keep him on board, new Fallout opportunity presents itself, you got your director. This is the man. Or maybe again, with Brandon Adler and how he's directing the Outer Worlds 2, I'm going to keep my mind open to him, right? Like, it looks like they're cooking with Outer Worlds 2, ignoring the $80 price tag. But it looks like they're doing something really great there. So there's a lot of great minds at Obsidian, but this feels like the perfect home for a new Fallout game, all things considered. So yeah, multiple Fallout projects in development. You could maybe take a guess at some other ones they would do. Like, some people were saying Fallout Shelter 2, and I'm like, look, it sounds stupid, I know, but Fallout Shelter is like the highest grossing Fallout product ever. That says something. Or do you do something involving the TV show and its characters, like a little standalone game? Do you start doing, as I've mentioned before, this is not video games, but books and comics and whatnot. Like, how wide open will Fallout be cracked? You know, it's exciting to think about, no doubt, because us Fallout fans have only known a new entry every, like, what, decade if we're lucky. So that's exciting. But going back to Xbox a little bit and the handling of something like Halo and how, like, stories are continuing in books and stuff, like, I know I'm enough of a Fallout junkie where I would keep up that way, but I also know that's not the most exciting, interesting, or, you know, casual fan-friendly way to manage your IP. So I just really am hoping this thing doesn't get run into the ground. I mean, right now, the proposed projects are the ideal ones. I gotta be honest. It's a Fallout 3 remaster, one of my favorite games of all time. It's the next mainline entry in the Fallout franchise, and it's New Vegas 2. All we need there is the obvious New Vegas remaster, remake, whatever you want to call what Virtuos does, and you've got yourself a perfect storm of Fallout content. The question is, once those options are up, what's next? Are we going to have multiple Fallout projects, multiple Fallout spin-offs? Are we going to do multiple Fallout open world games? Is there a world where you get a linear Fallout game? Is Fallout a turn-based RPG at some point? Like, what are you going to do with Fallout once the obvious choices are up? Like, how scorched earth are they going with this thing? So a lot of theories, lots of questions still to be answered. But nonetheless, if you're a Fallout fan, like 5 years down the line, you might have a lot to play. So we'll see if these projects can get out the door. But nonetheless, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on these multiple Fallout projects in development. How are you feeling about it, especially given the recent news? Because again, I'm just trying to like be transparent like I always am. Like, yeah, it's like a weird situation. Like, yeah, I didn't expect in the middle of me stomping out Xbox, like, oh my God, multiple Fallout games. So it's a little weird in that moment of just trying to remain critical, trying to remain consistent, again, with the energy that I think people have had with Xbox of like, let's turn the page, let's move on. It's like, no, I don't think we can. Then you see news like this and it's like a real challenge. It's like, okay, obviously I'm going to talk about it. This is my thing. It's been my thing well before Xbox stepped into the picture. But at the same time, it's definitely the impact to me, and then I'll get off my little soapbox here. The impact for me has really been, wow, I saw probably the most ideal Fallout news and I had a measured response to it. Like, that's how much this is all kind of set me back. So I don't know. I hope that says something to people out there, because I know, like, with how much bad faith content there is out there, like, sometimes you just get lopped in when you're continuously critical of something. So I guess I get it, but hopefully there's something legitimizing in all of that. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Curious to get your thoughts on what's going on with Fallout. Let me know down below. Other than that, take excellent care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.